Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to do a Q&A video and answer your questions regarding The Walking Dead. So first of all, thank you so much for posting all of your questions. If you do want to take part in these Q&As, go and join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. There is a link for that in the description of this video here. I ask for questions every single week and I'm trying to get it out on Wednesdays. The last couple of weeks have sort of been a mess because I started school and everything, so I have to get everything sort of back on schedule. And yeah, I've been trying to figure that out right now, but I usually have them out every single week. And so yeah, definitely go and join the Discord, take part in next week's Q&A. I'll be asking for questions in the next couple of days. So yeah, for everyone that posted questions, thank you so much. And make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. They are going to start promoting Dead City very soon. Again, I do believe for sure that the show will be out like at the latest in early May, because any later than that, and it's really pushing it, like really pushing it to the point where I think people are gonna, people are already complaining about the lack of any sort of Walking Dead content right now, because it is kind of ridiculous. You know, like I think you can definitely have a lot more shows out there, and there's only 2 out there right now, and I don't really understand why that's the case. Like people want more, and I'm constantly seeing it all the time. But Dead City will for sure, like I do believe anyways, just my opinion, but I think for sure it'll be out early May. Maybe it's late April, but it's going to be around that time period, I do believe, which means that we're 3 months away until then, right? And so if it's 3 months away, usually a trailer comes out like what, 40 to 45 days beforehand. Like that's when we get a trailer, like the official trailer. So that'll be in like a month and a half from now. And usually before that, there's a lot of stuff like in terms of announcements and teasers and whatnot. So I think we are going to start getting stuff here once we get into February. They're going to start to really promote the show. It's going to build up slowly. And then in March, there'll be a bigger promotion. There'll be the trailer, and then they're going to promote it a lot, obviously, throughout April to the release date. So we're getting there. I think January was the hardest month, well, December and January, because there was really nothing at all. But we're almost out of this. You know, we're going to start getting some really exciting stuff here. So yeah, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But let's get into the very first question here. So Q&A. Would it be correct to assume that the longer they were bit, or the worse the bite is, the quicker they turn? Longer, I mean, like if the walker was biting them for like 15 seconds, would it be slower than if it was for like 30 seconds? Well, I guess that really, I don't know about that. That's actually a really interesting idea. In terms of like the time length, maybe that sort of contributes to it overall. I think, the worse the bite, obviously, I guess you would just die quicker. So like, I guess that is sort of a thing like overall, but I don't know in terms of that. Like, honestly, in terms of how that works, it has changed a lot over the years. Lately, I think they are caring a lot more in terms of when someone dies, it actually takes a little bit for them to turn right away, because, and that's the way it used to be in the first couple of seasons, because like in the last couple of seasons of The Walking Dead, when someone died, they turned right away. And I was just like, that made no sense. I know sometimes they would make it where it's like, well, you waited a little bit, but like, it was just still like, I don't know. I know some characters have turned, pretty fast on the show. Like I think Amy turned pretty fast, right? In The Walking Dead season 1. It just depends. Like I think of Gamma in season 10. I feel like after she died, right away, she turned. I know like Beta did wait a little bit, but I think my issue actually is the fact that the zombies don't look as fresh anymore, like when they turn. Like way back in the first couple of seasons, you would just turn, but you would still sort of look like yourself, but you would be a zombie. Like obviously you would look a little bit more like a zombie, but not as much. But in the later seasons of The Walking Dead, like they would turn, and in just a couple of hours they would look a lot like a zombie. So it just wasn't that realistic. So I think that was my issue overall there. But yeah, I think that maybe that is a possibility. Like the worse the bite, I guess the quicker you would turn. But I don't know. I feel like honestly it's pretty random, and I think it's more to do with the scene in general and like what they want to happen in the scene. So yeah, I don't know. But Q&A, do you think Pearlie and Maggie are teaming up in Dead City season 2? So Pearlie Armstrong, I think, will probably have to team up with Maggie. I think that, I honestly think the way it's going to actually go down, just because of a shot we saw in one of the teasers where we see Pearlie Armstrong and Herschel. I don't see Maggie around. Like maybe Maggie is somewhere just not in the shot, but I feel like, Pearlie Armstrong's going to go to the bricks to try and convince Maggie of like, well, we got to do this because of whatever, New Babylon is going to go to Manhattan and try and find Negan, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. So we need your help. And Maggie's going to be like, no, because if you think of Maggie's mindset, like, I think at this point she's like, no, I'm not going. Like I'm focusing more on Herschel. Herschel drew that drawing of the Dama. And I think that there's some revenge he wants, or there's something there. There's definitely some sort of story there with Herschel where I think after that happens, I think Pearlie Armstrong's just going to leave, and then Herschel's just going to go with him, which will force Maggie to actually have to leave and go chase after Herschel. And then, we'll see what happens there. And then I think eventually, like, obviously, they're just both going to be on the same side. Like, I think that they will team up for sure. In terms of, are they going to be on Negan's side overall? That's where I don't really know where things are going to play out. Like, for Negan's story, like, it's so interesting because he could either be on the villain side, which is kind of what I assumed, but because we have Bruegel now in the story, it's going to be different, right? He's not going to be the entire villain here. He's going to be a part of the story, but I think there's going to be like 3 different sides of the whole thing. There's going to be a lot of groups, but I think that there's going to be 3 main sides here. We're going to have like Maggie, New Babylon, and Bruegel. We're going to have Negan, Croat, and the Dama, and then we're going to have Bruegel. There's a bunch of other groups as well in Manhattan, so we'll see how that fits into everything. Obviously, some of the characters here are not going to be all on like one side. I think Negan is more like with Maggie's side. I think Maggie is not really necessarily with New Babylon as well. There's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that happens here, and I'm really interested in learning a lot more of the specifics of that story and how all that would work out. But yeah, to answer your question, I do think that Pearlie and Maggie would for sure team up, or are going to team up in Dead City Season 2. Q&A. Whenever we get the Rick and Daryl reunion, do you think it's possible Daryl could become a CRM soldier? And that's why we got that as an Easter egg in Modern Warfare 3. Was it Modern Warfare 3? I mean, I guess it was just like, it was like Warzone or whatever, right? Like that's where I saw it anyways. But so I think that maybe, honestly, I think that thing was just more of a mistake. They just kind of did whatever for the scene because it doesn't really make too much sense when you think about it, right? Like I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Like, obviously, that is a possibility. If Daryl does come back to America, if he wants, he can become a CRM soldier. Like, that is a possibility. But we'll have to wait and see if that is actually possible. I think that would be really cool, to be honest, to see Daryl and Rick in the CRM uniform. I think the thing is, though, is like, that's the thing I'm wondering about the CRM is like, they are going to have a military aspect to it, but I don't know if it's going to be the whole thing still, right? Like with, you have red stripes and sort of how that goes up in ranks. Like, I think it's going to be very different now. The whole thing's going to be worked out. And obviously we have no idea how it's going to go yet. Gimple is going to work on that whenever they do their next story. We'll see a lot of that there. So it might not be exactly what we saw. I do think most likely in Warzone that they just sort of messed up the overall look there. I mean, they called it like the Commonwealth soldier uniform or something, right? So I think they got the name wrong because obviously Daryl does wear a Commonwealth suit in the very final season of The Walking Dead. So I think there was just some sort of, just issue there that happened. But Q&A, what are your thoughts on the speculations of the Aaron and Gabriel spinoff, The Walking Dead Bushland, and 4 other Walking Dead projects? Well, I just don't necessarily, I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's not like true or anything like that. Obviously, they're just rumors, but I personally don't really believe them because I just think that there would be a lot more out there right now. But I also think, ideas like that make a lot of sense for Gimple to have planned right now because I'm sure he has a lot of ideas that he's come up with, right? Like a lot of spinoff ideas and a lot of ideas probably, where it just makes no sense to go there and tell that story. And it's just AMC has to greenlight all of these things, right? Like even if Gimple actually like comes up with all these ideas, it's AMC that has to greenlight all of these series and actually put it into production. So to me, I think that for, any idea, I'm sure he has ideas on like an Aaron and Gabriel spinoff, but like, I don't know if they're working on it. I'm sure he has a lot of ideas for a lot of Walking Dead spinoffs set all over the world, but it's, I don't know. As of right now, I do think that there is another series in the works and that there could be something happening this summer for filming and that we are going to get an announcement later on this summer. So I think that's sort of where we're at right now. There is going to be something else coming out soon. And I'm just curious on what that could be. But Q&A. Do you think we can also see Jensen Ackles in The Walking Dead Dead City? I think that is honestly something we definitely could see, just because obviously the connection with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, that makes so much sense to me. I think that, I don't know if it's going to be a season 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, but I think eventually we will see something like that because obviously Jensen Ackles and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, they really do like working together. So yeah, for sure, I could totally see that happening. I think to have him on The Walking Dead, just to play a character would be so cool. And you want him to play a bigger part too. Like, you don't want it to be like a 1-episode thing, or even like a 1-season thing. Like maybe that would be fine. Like maybe he's a 1-season thing, but then comes back in future seasons, almost like Soldier Boy, right, from The Boys. I could definitely see that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. I think it is a possibility for sure, though. I actually do think that we probably will see that at some point here. At least I hope so. Like, it has to happen. That would be so cool to see. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here, though. Thank you so much for posting all of your questions. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.